Farmer of Liddesdale. There was in Liddesdale, in Morven, a farmer who suffered great loss within the space of 1 year. In the first place, his wife and children died, and shortly after their death the plowman left him. The hiring markets were then over, and there was no way of getting another plowman in place of the one that left. When spring came, his neighbors began plowing, but he had not a man to hold the plow, and he knew not what he should do. The time was passing, and he was therefore losing patience. At last he said to himself, in a fit of passion, that he would engage the first man that came his way, whoever he should be. Shortly after that a man came to the house. The farmer met him at the door, and asked him whither was he going, or what was he seeking. He answered that he was a plowman, and that he wanted an engagement. "I want a plowman, and if we agree about the wages, I will engage thee." "What dost thou ask from this day to the day when the crop will be gathered in?" "Only as much of the corn when it shall be dry as I can carry with me in one burden with." "Thou shalt get that," said the farmer, and they agreed. Next morning the farmer went out with the plowman, and showed him the fields which he had to plow. Before they returned, the plowman went to the wood, and having cut 3 stakes, came back with them, and placed one of them at the head of each one of the fields. After he had done that he said to the farmer, "I will do the work now alone, and the plowing need no longer give thee anxiety." Having said this, he went home and remained idle all that day. The next day came, but he remained idle as on the day before. After he had spent a good while in that manner, the farmer said to him that it was time for him to begin work now, because the spring was passing away, and the neighbors had half their work finished. He replied, "Oh, our land is not ready yet." "How dost thou think that?" "Oh, I know it by the stakes." If the delay of the plowman made the farmer wonder, this answer made him wonder more. He resolved that he would keep his eye on him, and see what he was doing. The farmer rose early next morning, and saw the plowman go into the first field. When he reached the field, he pulled the stake it had sent out of the ground, and put it to his nose. He shook his head and put the stake back in the ground. He then left the first field and went to the rest. He tried the stakes, shook his head, and returned home. In the dusk he went out the second time to the fields, tried the stakes, shook his head, and after putting them again in the ground, went home. Next morning he went out to the fields the third time. When he reached the first stake he pulled it out of the ground and put it to his nose as he did on the foregoing days. But no sooner had he done that than he threw the stake from him, and stretched away for the houses with all his might. He got the horses, the withs, and the plow, and when he reached the end of the first field with them, he thrust the plow into the ground, and cried, "My horses and my leather traces, and mettlesome lads, the earth is coming up." He then began plowing, kept at it all day at a terrible rate, and before the sun went down the night there was not a palm breadth of the 3 fields which he had not plowed, sowed, and harrowed. When the farmer saw this he was exceedingly well pleased, for he had his work finished as soon as his neighbors. The plowman was quick and ready to do everything that he was told, and so he and the farmer agreed well until the harvest came. But on a certain day when the reaping was over, the farmer said to him that he thought the corn was dry enough for putting in. The plowman tried a sheaf or 2, and answered that it was not dry yet, but shortly after that day he said that it was now ready. "If it is," said the farmer, "we better begin putting it in." "We will not eat till I get my share out of it first," said the plowman. He then went off to the wood, and in a short time returned, having in his hand a withe scraped and twisted. He stretched the withe on the field, and began to put the corn in it. He continued putting sheaf after sheaf in the withe until he had taken almost all the sheaves that were on the field. The farmer asked of him what he meant. "Thou didst promise me as wages as much corn as I could carry with me